I just want to do God's will.
The kind of revolution that the world needs is a Christian revolution.
If you want a miracle, you've got to expect it to happen.
You are the recipients of God's grace and God's blessings, and you rejoice in that reality.
Welcome to Life Today Live. I'm Randy Robinson. And look, okay, I've done the warm and fuzzy Christmas movie stuff and TV shows, the rom-coms and all that. Now it's some me time, people. I need some me time this Christmas. So we're going to introduce you to a film that comes out this Friday, December 20th, called Homestead. And it is the prequel and sort of foundational movie for a series. So if you dig this kind of thing, there's a lot's coming, and it's my favorite. It's the post-apocalyptic thriller, and I honestly, I love this sort of thing. So I'm excited about this one. Okay, I have a couple of people here, key people. The director of the film and the series, Ben Smallbone, is with me, and one of the actors who you will recognize. His name is Baily Chase, and I'll tell you a little bit more about him. But first, let's just see some pictures. This is the trailer for Homestead.
Everyone wondered how the world ended.
We got hit.
Does the sun
America's just been attacked.
go on shining?
But this is the story of how it began.
Los Angeles has been struck by a bomb.
Hold your breath. Hold your breath.
It might be nuclear.
I saw this.
So what?
We never come back.
After today, our lives will never be the same.
We have looting and widespread panic.
Hey,
Daddy has a place for us to go. We'll be together.
The city's on fire.
There's a guy, been planning for the big one. Called a few months back, needs security people.
What is this place?
Welcome to Homestead. Your guys have to learn how to farm.
We grow our food. We raise our animals. Can you handle yourself with a gun?
This might be the most prepared location in the Rockies. Everyone's gonna want in. And I mean everyone.
My family's out here, and we're starving to death.
I wish we could help, but we can.
You can or you won't.
Our kids need us to be strong.
Please.
People are gonna die at this gate.
They're trespassers in the hills.
They're stealing your grain. They've cut off your solar power.
We need a world where people help strangers, not shoot at them.
Sometimes we think we're doing the right thing, and then it all goes wrong.
It's the end of the world.
It's time for you to take full control. It's complicated. Do you think that you're above the law? Do you think that the rules aren't for you?
Is this an ark, or is this a fortress?
It's our home.
It's the end of the world.
That is the trailer for Homestead. Again, this Friday, December 20th, in theaters. You want to go see it in theaters. And you may recognize Neil McDonough there, by the way. He's done so much. A fabulous actor. But I have Baily Chase, who is in the series with me, as well as the director of the film and the series. His name is Ben Smallbone. And if you recognize that name, Joel Smallbone was on here he's from For King and Country. Joel and Luke Smallbone in For King and Country. He was on here talking about a movie last summer called Unsung Hero. Well, Ben is a Smallbone. There's a bunch of Smallbones. Rebecca St. James, older sister. They've had a few hits, but Ben directed Unsung Hero, and now he's directing Homestead. And he's a gifted one, and he joins us. So Ben, welcome to Life Today Live. Tell us a little bit about Homestead.
Well, Homestead is a post-apocalyptic thriller. It's set in the mountains of Colorado, and this brilliant, rich homesteader has built this perfect prepper property for the world to end. Well, the world does end, and hundreds of people flood to the gates for protection, and he's invited in some of his family and friends that can kind of help take care of the homestead with him and survive the apocalypse. And one of those people is Baily Chase's character, Jeff Erickson, and he is an ex-Green Beret, and he is there to protect the homestead. And that's where things start to get interesting. You have the peaceful homesteaders with different ordeals, different backgrounds, colliding with the more militaristic Jeff, who wants to take over the homestead and make sure that nobody gets within shooting range of the place. And that's where the conflict starts to happen.
Conflict. Ah, yes, the best part. Now, this doesn't sound like your typical Christian movie kind of thing. This is a little grittier.
Yeah, grittier is a good word. I think oftentimes Christians create art the way we wish the world was and not the way the world really is. This is pretty realistic. It's pretty dark. And I think Christians and non-Christians will find it entertaining, but also an incredible opportunity to have conversations about, hey, how do you take care of your neighbor? How do you show kindness and graciousness when you have no resources, when everything is taken away from you, and all of a sudden you have to take care of your neighbor, you have to love your neighbor, but at what expense? When that expense is potentially your family, your safety, your security. It's a really, really interesting conversation that I think we can have as Christians and have with our non-Christian neighbors as well.
Yeah, I love it, and I think there's room for everything. As you said before we started, that it's been sort of an underserved demographic. I think people like me, frankly, who I love the solid Christian movies. They're fine, but then I go home and I watch something on Netflix that's a lot more. I watch something like, I don't know, Longmire, or the Twin Peaks TV series, and I mention those because Baily Chase is in Homestead, and he was also in those amongst tons of other things. His resume is quite long, so you'll recognize. Baily, welcome to the program. Great to have you today.
Thank you, Randy. That was a nice little smooth transition you had. Very.
You do a couple thousand interviews, you learn a little bit, but you made this one easy because you've been in a lot. How do you like this project?
Thank you, sir. I love this project. I've said for a while now that this job has felt like divine intervention for me. Homestead, the film, came during the Hollywood strike, which was right after the pandemic and everything else. During all that, my wife and I moved our 3 children from LA, after 20 years in LA, to the mountains of North Carolina. A little bit what you were just alluding to and where you go to for your content. I wanted to go to North Carolina to get that kind of content for my children and my family and to have that in life. And so, I moved to LA with $1 and a Dream back in the late 90s. And then I moved to the mountains of North Carolina 3 years ago, kind of the same deal. Was kind of broke after all the things and not knowing what was going to happen with the career, and Homestead appeared, and I haven't stopped since. And now we're doing the series. And, as Ben and I have just discussed, I feel like God's hands are all over this one.
So LA's a hard place to make it. And it's a rough place in a lot of ways spiritually. I know a lot of great people out there, so I'm not nuking it. No pun intended. But
it's good.
What's the contrast between I don't know, Batman versus Superman, 24 Legacy, some of the series that you've done as a professional, and sort of the vibe on Homestead, the set?
Yeah, it's really night and day. Batman versus Superman, obviously going to be top of the food chain in terms of budget, time, locations, shooting on special edition film. Homestead is very much shot digitally. Ben could speak, more eloquently about that. But so I've worked on a $500 million movie, and I've worked on a $5 million movie, and now we're doing $750,000 TV episodes and everything in between. So, but at the end of the day, it's all about story. Ben and his camera guys have a way, Matthew Rivera, of capturing things with a skeleton crew and not much of a budget, and the film just looks beautiful.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do these days, and Ben, I mean, the difference between when I was scraping my 16 millimeter in college and it's literally cementing the work print together, versus the capabilities now. What kind of freedom have you found in the environment, not just on the technology side, but even with the distribution?
Yeah, it's a exciting and equally terrifying time, right? Like
everybody with an iPhone can make a series now, right?
Yeah, that, and like literally there's a camera that we shot multiple scenes in the movie and the show that you can go to Best Buy and buy. Edited with software that you can pay $29.95 per month to edit the movie with. It's really a terrifying but equally exciting time. No longer is equipment and technology the barrier to storytelling. And we have an opportunity like no other moment in the history of filmmaking to bring stories to life with excellence. And, I grew up in a musical family. Music videos was kind of my playground for my siblings to kind of experiment. And I learned so much through that. And a lot of those techniques and tricks, now we use in this show. And I got to edit on the project. I did a majority of the visual effects. I got to operate camera. And talk about skeleton crew. Baily got to witness it. There was days where we had 65, 70 people out there. And then there was days where there was 4 of us. And what was remarkable, Randy, is like, I don't think people are going to notice. Like, they're going to watch the film and they're going to see these beautiful, incredible scenes. And same thing with the series. And you can't tell the difference between the big days and the small days. And I think, sky's the limit going forward for us as filmmakers.
Yeah, it is. And I love the way the technology has evolved. And yes, it does mean that more people are making content and not all of it's good, but the freedom that it gives someone like you, it puts the art back into the artist and not just whoever has the money to kind of finance it or whatever kind of thing. And it separates the truly gifted artists from the ones who probably should get a day job like me. What are you trying to create, Ben? When you see this at the end of the day, or you're looking at the dailies, what is it that you trying to convey?
Oh gosh, that's a hard question to answer. To me, movies of all of the art forms, whether you're talking about books or painting or music, it's really a combination of all of it. And it has a way of skipping the mind and going straight to the heart. And if we can use the power of filmmaking and the arts to impact culture, and when I say impact culture, there's so many ways of that. For this specific project, it's, hey, don't live in fear, but at the same time, we can prepare for the worst. And then that eliminates fear because we know that if something did go down, like what is in the film, that we're prepared. The importance of family, the importance of community, encouraging people to have deep, dark conversations. I see what my family has done in the arts and what we're trying to do with film as an extension of telling God's stories on this planet and using that to impact society and impact the world. And that's what I want to do with every frame. My dad has a saying that the light shines brightest in the darkness. Mm-hmm. And that is so true for this movie and the series.
Yeah. All right. Baily, rather, I want to play a little best and worst. And I know I'm going to say, what's your best experience on a set? You're going to say it's on Homestead and yada, yada, yada. So let's just skip right to the worst. What's your worst experience on a set?
Wow, you went there. You went there, didn't you? Oh.
You don't have to tell us which set it was.
There was this thing. And yes, you could call it a TV series, and it was at a time, it's no longer around. It was called My Network TV, and kind of thank God, like just a quick, my first real job was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Job went away. It was a cool place to start, instant fan base. job ended, went broke, spent all the money, had to do a soap opera, moved to New York. Great experience living in New York, single, young, really fun. Well, that job went away, spent that money. But fortunately, I, had a lot of hours in front of the camera at that point. I got hired to do something for something called My Network TV. And the funny thing is, my cousin and his family they live in the suburbs of Chicago. They loved it because it was like a nighttime soap opera, but there was no money. They shot like 70 pages a day. Then you can appreciate they block shot the whole season. So nobody knew like what day or so. That that was my worst job. It was really hard. Nobody wanted to be there, but the actors were under contract, so we were stuck.
Yeah. 1 second, I'm googling My Network TV. I want to see what that looks like. All right, that'll be a fun one. All right, and Ben, you get the good one. What's been the best production experience for you?
I have to say Homestead, obviously, because I got Baily Chase on here.
Good answer. Good
answer.
You know what?
But it's true. There's an element of filmmaking that can make it the best and the worst experiences of life, which is you're doing it with people. You're doing it with broken, flawed human beings. But when you get a community of like-minded, focused, passionate storytellers, whether that's on the actor side or on the crew side, gosh, there is nothing better. And what we have built in the last year working together is truly family. And I have never felt it as strong as I have on this project. And so going into the mountains of Utah and shooting for weeks and months at a time away from our families, all of a sudden is not very hard when you're doing it with people that you not only love, but you enjoy being around. And that's what I've experienced on Homestead. And gosh, the location can't get any better. It's a pretty incredible place.
All right. Baily, next time Ben yells at you on the set, you have to remind him of what he just said about working with you.
I will. And there's something about that accent that just makes it more palatable. It doesn't really bother me much. But Randy, to kind of prove that point, it's we all get those phone calls. Our phone rings a lot. And, if I see Smallbone on there, I see Jason on there, I see Casca, my other co-showrunners, I immediately pick up the phone. I get a smile on my face. The other actors from Homestead call me, and I get that, giddy feeling like this is a call I want to take. And so that's a testament just to, that tells you everything you need to know. Whereas not every show has been like that. And the title of that show is called Watch Over Me, which I had successfully deleted from my brain. So thank you for bringing that.
That's what I'm here for. But okay. What else am I here for? What is the audience here for? Here's the question. And I really want to drive this home for you guys watching this, even if you're watching it later after the movie's come and gone from the theaters, because the series is still on, by the way, angel.com. You can find out about the film in the theaters this Friday, December 20th, at angel.com. Get tickets, all that good stuff, and the series. But I really want people to understand from two guys that are in it, that are making the type of content that a lot of us want, what can we do as an audience to support you guys so that you can get better budgets, so that you can get deals to make more content like this, so we don't have to suffer through. So there's so much content that's just it's either not good for us or it just is a wasteland. How do we support you guys in what you're doing?
It's a good question. Go to the movie theaters. Obviously this is a theatrical release, and the first weekend is incredibly important in the success of the series. And so if the movie does well, we're going to be making a lot more of this content. And beyond that, Angel Studios is doing something incredibly special. They have multiple series going. They have, films coming out every other month. And supporting Angel and continuing allowing that to grow is incredibly important, and I'm incredibly impassioned about it. But yeah, they have the guild. People can join and become members of the guild. You get to vote on what content they get to approve, but you also get sneak peeks of rough cuts of projects like Homestead. And so my hope is people that walk out of this film are going to be excited about supporting Angel and its growth and allow opportunities to make more projects like this.
Yeah, I love it. Anything you need to add, Baily?
Just Angel Studios wasn't on my radar when I was out here, living in LA for however long. And since moving to North Carolina, my intro to them was watching Sound of Freedom. And I've been with them ever since. I've just, like everyone else, I've paid tickets forward after watching it. After Homestead, I ended up joining the guild. I vote on a lot of their new content because we want to see the things that we want to see with our families, with our children. And I know Angel Studios is a safe space where they can do that. And that's why I'm developing another show with them for next year.
Nice.
And we talked about this a little bit before we started recording, but I want to do what Taylor Sheridan's doing, but I want to do it at Angel Studios. And that way we can kind of, make sure that Hollywood's going to keep their hands off it and we get to make the shows and the films that we want to make.
I love it. I love it. Appreciate both you guys, both your work and your time. Anything either you need to add before I let you go?
No, go see the movie in theaters.
December 20th. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we're all saying it. December 20th. That's Friday. So go see Homestead in the theaters. And then go to angel.com and become a member of the guild. You will get great content. You'll be able to see the series. In fact, I think, Ben, you told me that if they can see, is it at the end of the film or just on angel.com where you can actually get a way to watch the first couple of episodes of the series?
Yeah, so as soon as the movie releases, I'm actually sitting in a color house in downtown Hollywood. I can see the Hollywood sign in the distance. Finishing the series right now. We're in the color process, and it is going to be so fresh. But it will be ready on December 20th. And so when you finish the movie, there's going to be a QR code that comes up on that screen. And when you scan that QR code, you can watch the first 2 episodes of the series. And guys, I'm excited about the movie, but much more excited about the series, and some of the conversations and scenes that we have in the series are incredible, and continue the story. If you watch the movie and you don't see the series, you're going to be a little confused by a few things.
I love it. All right. That's Homestead. Hit that share button and let someone else know, especially if you're like me, you're like, oh, this is going to be a good one. Check this out. And do check it out, angel.com. Appreciate both of you guys.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate all you guys out there watching. If you haven't liked or followed or subscribed here at Life Today TV, please do that. You'll get more notifications. So sometimes, you probably, if you didn't hear about this before, you heard about it now, you heard about it here. So you want to subscribe or like, depending on your platform. And come back. Have a great Christmas. We'll be wrapping up our top 10 here at the end of the year. And coming back in January with some good content, good interviews. And we appreciate you guys. So we'll see you again next time here on Life Today Live.
Believe on the God who for Christ's sake justifies the ungodly.